Hello and welcome to the podcast that is in no way at all affiliated with tennis ace Jamie Murray. Are you chewing gum, boy? Spit it out now! I'm only joking. I would never speak that way to a child. Hello, and welcome to my outstanding lesson. Hi, Jesse.
Hi, Freddie.
Jesse, what are we doing here?
Well, today we will interview a teacher about a memorable teaching and learning experience from their career.
Cool. So, not necessarily their best lesson, just something that sticks in their memory, right?
Potentially this could be their worst lesson.
Ooh, that would be interesting. So who are we interviewing today?
Today we will be interviewing a man named Tom.
Tom, colleague of ours, teacher.
Some call him Thomas.
Some call him Thomas. I sometimes do. Haven't quite worked out what I'm going to call him, Tom or Thomas. There's a word that if Thomas says will land him in detention.
What's the word, Freddie?
Well, actually, for Thomas, we decided it's not a word, it's a type of joke.
Right.
Specifically, any sexual innuendo we're not having.
I can't imagine he'll get through this without a sexual innuendo.
No chance alive. I would stake every UN I have on Thomas throwing in a sexual innuendo.
But, surely Thomas makes it through his lessons without sexual innuendos. It must be possible. He must be doing this sometimes.
Interesting thought. Maybe he does it so they go above the kids' heads, so it's not necessarily inappropriate, but he still gets one in.
He's just kind of chuckling at the front. Yeah, maybe.
I can see that. Right. I think it's about time we call him in. Wait a minute. Thomas, don't wait outside. Come on in.
Hi, Thomas.
Hello, Thomas.
Hello, guys.
How are you?
Good, yeah, good day.
Yeah, so we've all been hard at work today.
We have.
It's Wednesday today, so we've all been teaching.
Yeah, middle of the week.
Yeah.
Not that fresh.
No, it's been a long day. It's been a long day with a long staff meeting at the end of it.
But as any good Wednesday does, it finished with Mexican food and a bit of tequila.
Yeah.
All right.
Bit of margarita.
Jesse's coming into this interview half cut.
It's hard. One drink.
Yeah.
It's a Wednesday.
Save a lot of money. I'm about to make you an offer, Thomas.
Oh, hello.
The chance to win a cup of coffee.
Okay.
During this interview, I'll hit you with a turbo table. Which means I'll give you...
A wicked wango card.
I'll give you a times table question.
Okay.
And you need to answer it instantaneously. You know those horrible teachers that just sort of point at someone and say, "You!" So if you answer the turbo table correctly, you will win said cup of coffee. And obviously the pride that comes with that. As it's called turbo table, of course, I will ask it in the style of Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Can I have a preview of what it might sound like?
No?
Can I have your favourite Arnie quote?
It's not a tumor.
Get to the chopper!
Huh. I'm not going to do it. They both pointed at me at the same time, and I was like, oh no.
Okay, so accepted?
Deal.
Okay, right. We're nearly at the time where the lesson starts. Now, any teacher worth their salt, of course, would not ask their children to do a writing or speaking assignment without an adequate warm-up. So, Jesse and Thomas, I have a warm-up for you two in the shape of a tongue twister.
Oh dear.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh dear.
Good thinking.
So, maybe should I say it slowly for the listener?
Yeah, say it.
Okay. She sells seashells on the seashore.
Wow.
The shells
Whoa.
the shells she sells are surely seashells. So if she sells seashells on the seashore, then I'm sure she sells seashore shells.
Good God.
Sorry.
I didn't know that was the whole thing.
Yeah,
So
have
well
you
done.
added to this?
Very good. Well, no, I think that's it.
This is the original.
No, this is, Bing's finest when I searched tongue twisters earlier. So Tom's turn to go first.
Thanks, Bing.
Bing!
Thanks, Bing. Since
Okay.
all VPNs are down.
She sells seashells on the seashore. The shells she sells are surely seashells. So if she sells seashells on the seashore, then I'm sure she sells seashells on the seashore. That's not what the last line was. I made it up as I went along.
I'm going to try to go fast.
Okay, go on.
She sells seashells on the seashore. The shells she sells are surely seashells. So if she sells seashells on the seashore, then I'm sure she sells seashells on the seashore.
Well, you both warmed up.
Yeah, I'd call that a tie.
It's about time to talk about your lesson, Thomas. So do you want to give us like an overall sort of setting? So like maybe the place, the age of kids,
Yeah.
the type of class.
Okay. So this all happened in my first year of teaching within my first training school. I'm not going to say the names. I was of respect for everyone involved. I was currently teaching year 4. And the basis of this story is how a good leadership team can affect you and how a bad leadership team can affect you. So as I was training, they were grading my observations as good, satisfactory to good.
Okay, and you're a student teacher, so you're new.
Yeah, first year. And it's a 1-year teaching course. It's all
nice how
hands-on.
they make you do it in front of everyone at the beginning.
Yeah.
They rate you.
It just came to light that the head teacher at the school wasn't happy with me. She came in for a couple of observations. I didn't perform as well as I could have. I know that. And it came to the point where she had contacted the university and said, we don't want this teacher in the school anymore. And of course the university came along, interviewed me in front of the head teacher, my mentor, my personal mentor, and the university course leader. Very intimidating for me as a beginner. And they basically had this discussion in front of me where I wasn't performing very well. It took me back, shook my confidence.
Thomas, what were you doing? Why were they so bothered?
This is the thing. Everything was getting graded in my observations as satisfactory to good. Nothing was being brought up as a worry. So this was all a shock to me. And in hindsight, I should have fought back a little bit. But being the new teacher, having these 4 adults sit across from you telling you you're not good enough, it knocks your confidence.
Sure.
So within about 2 weeks, we sat down for another meeting. I hadn't achieved what I was supposed to achieve. Very friendly, as if she'd been friendly all year. Just said, Thomas, teaching's not for everyone. I think you should find a new career.
No.
Wow. Amazing.
So sitting there, obviously, I put in all this work. I put in 7-8 months of. Anyone who's done a teaching course knows it's such a demanding
Oh,
course.
absolutely. Yeah.
I put in all this time. The thought of going back to my family and saying I've been kicked off, or I can't be a teacher anymore, it's heartbreaking. Yeah. So at the time, I was thinking I'm starting to feel two ways. I'm starting to feel like I've let myself down, but also, is this really my fault? And I was asked to leave the school by the head teacher, thinking, this is it. This is over.
I feel like, did you maybe offend her? Did you make like a joke?
I have no idea.
This is his first thought?
Yeah, no.
We're trying to be funny
that's
with
fair.
you.
It's fair. Like, what have I done to deserve
Yeah,
this? What have I done
your
to?
lessons, right? It was
Yeah.
something else.
Yeah. The only thing I can
I
think
mean,
of.
you do make offensive jokes.
Let's not get into that.
Thank you.
What did you do,
Thank you.
Thomas?
No. I think my first observation with her I was in a year 1 class. My first observation didn't go to plan.
It's turbo time, Thomas. 8 times 7.
56.
And I will buy you a coffee tomorrow, my friend.
I think every moment from then, every time she came to observe me, it was intimidating. University contacted me the next day and said, we've reviewed the evidence. We're not kicking you off the course, but you are under special observation. So we need to reassess in a different school.
Right. Genuinely, this is news to me. What did everybody say this to me?
Mm-hmm.
I find this almost impossible to believe with a
Yeah.
teacher like Tom, right? Like, you would imagine, like, I've seen this kind of thing happen, and it's been to teachers that often are a little bit meek, find some things a bit difficult. It's almost like the archetypal opposite of a teacher like Thomas. And that maybe you've had a change. Maybe this worked. Maybe this wasn't nice at the time. Maybe it's made you the teacher you are now. My sort of immediate reaction is that someone's got you wrong on a very sort of short period of observation. You know, they've maybe made a snap judgment. I find it very. I don't know, what do you think?
Well, so I have actually observed Thomas as a new teacher before, and I was really like blown away. I think we thought it was the most outstanding lesson. I'm not just saying it because of the podcast. Really.
Ding, ding.
We were like, can we film that? Can we film that lesson? It was so outstanding. So, yeah, I find it interesting.
Tom, your head, it's just, it's swelling.
No. Thank you for those very kind words.
Sorry, Jesse, I completely interrupted you.
Well, the other thing I was going to say is that Tom didn't make the best first impression on me, though, as a human. Sorry.
But that is.
Thanks for leaving that lingering.
I mean, that's completely cutting, but it's like an interesting point, right? Like,
I'm actually analyzing the situation. I don't understand how this could have happened, but then, and I don't connect to this now, but I do remember when I first was getting to know you, I thought like, I don't know, like, he seems like he might be a bit of an asshole.
and then you saw him teach, and it was all over.
So I wonder what this principal saw, because I've sort of had multiple impressions of you over.
Is there a happy end
over
to the
that first month?
There is.
We're about to change.
Obviously, there's a very happy ending because I carried on.
Yeah.
I didn't quit. The school sent me to another school, one that didn't have a student teacher. And I went in under this special observation. They said it's a very supportive process. Don't worry. If you do these steps correctly and work on these things, you will finish the course, and you will get a pass grade. So I went into the school, met my mentor. She was a lovely, very friendly, very supportive woman. The first lesson, she asked me to plan. She said, right, the first thing we're going to do is just a team teach lesson. You plan the introduction, I'll plan the main, you plan the plenary. I was like, okay. Bear in mind, at this point, I was rock bottom. This was probably the lowest point in my life. And
do you really mean that?
The
lowest point of your life.
Oh, I believe
really.
it.
Oh,
that must have been so stressful.
100%.
Because it's like you've been going to school for a long time. You don't know about your own personal security. Like if you're going to be able to make a living.
But it was also like my family saw what was happening as well. And we planned this lesson. And naturally, I planned the whole lesson itself. I know I was only supposed to do the introduction, the plenary. I planned the main just to see what my mentor would think. I gave it to my mentor, looks good. Did the introduction. The mentor didn't cut in. All she did was come to the front of the class and said, whispered in my ear, carry on, do your lesson. So I did my lesson plan, did the plenary. The kids went out for recess. My mentor sat me down and just, her words were, I'm getting goosebumps saying this, what on earth are you doing here? Yeah. Like, how on earth did you get to that? That was such a good lesson. And just those few words built my confidence up that little bit.
In that one.
I was at the school for 5 weeks.
Yeah. 5
weeks, and all the damage that was done at the other school, it wasn't necessarily completely gone, but a lot of it was.
You know what?
Cemented.
I thought this. We never talked about this, but I really, really appreciate the power of a good mentor. And luckily for me, I never had a bad experience like you did. I had one mentor, and she was absolutely wonderful, and I'm still in contact with her a lot. She was so supportive. We're so new, as an NQT.
You're so vulnerable,
I mean?
right?
Yeah, exactly. Vulnerable is exactly the right word, because there's, one misplaced word or one bit of critique given the wrong way can really derail you. A question I was going to ask, and obviously I sort of know the answer to this, but it's kind of a good question to reflect on, is at the time you were told by the teacher you weren't necessarily welcome or wanted, how old were you?
25.
Okay. I mean, that's fairly old, for a trainee teacher.
Yeah.
Most of the teachers would be between 18 and 21, maybe 22.
Yeah. Basically at a pretty young and potentially fragile age, and I just think that whoever is in charge of, giving feedback to trainee teachers almost has like a duty of care to ensure that message is packaged considerately. Some people will naturally be able to take constructive criticism well, others less well.
And how many teachers have been lost because one person said one or two sentences that killed them.
Yeah.
And actually, I know several teachers who had a lot of trouble in their practicum. I had a lot of trouble in my practicum. I don't think anyone ever talked about kicking me out, but I was very stressed and I did get negative feedback, and it was very hard to take because you're vulnerable. You don't have any, you don't have anything to sort of back you up yet. And you're really not that great at teaching it. I think that's the reality. I wasn't that good at it. And I think my problem was I just couldn't get my head around how to plan because I didn't really understand how grade 1 students were. And so it'd be like, I didn't know where to start. I didn't know, I didn't know yet.
Your experience at that point is very raw, isn't it? It's very fresh.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Especially as like a liberal arts student, we're just like so critical. You're just like ripping everything apart.
I completely empathise with what happened to you because something similar happened to me, and like I said, I just reiterate that's heartbreaking when you think how many people that could have been in the profession now have been lost and are now working in. Oh, I nearly said HMV. Are working in Lloyd's.
Tesco.
But it's interesting though that she thought that it was her job to be critical and to stereotype teaching when actually
rather than to coach me and
because I think like critical thinking is very important when coupled with creative solutions, and I think that's where we're dropping the ball a lot of the time in education. Is I think we're not focused enough on creative solutions, and hence why a lot of us have trouble like working in collective environments.
This is where the outstanding lesson comes from. Support from leadership matters.
Yeah.
It's so effective whether you get bad support or good support from a bad leader or a good leader. It's really effective.
Yeah.
When I go home tonight, I'm going to email my mentor teacher because they did have to give me hard feedback, and it was really hard to hear. And I just want to tell her because at the end she said, "You're going to be a great teacher," and she gave that reassurance, and I'm sure I really needed it.
And what's really nice now is that this year I'm obviously in a new role. I'm in a leadership role. And I will probably have those conversations with teachers.
Yeah.
And it's good to know that having had the experience I know how to deal with certain situations, how to build people up rather than knock people down.
Yeah.
And those last
absolutely.
two comments that you said, Jesse, you about messaging your ex-mentor, Tom, about what you've taken on now, made the podcast valid. No, but seriously, like that is a positive outcome that can come from negative shit like this that everyone's been through to a certain extent.
Yeah, because I think sometimes I do like I'll watch a lesson and then I kind of think like, well, that that could have been a lot tighter, but it's like I understand, like I've been through it. I still go through it all the time. I still have lessons that suck all the time. I'm sure you guys do too, and it's just like I think when you're watching watching someone's lesson, it's very important to remember.
We were only saying over the margaritas was it's. No one expects to do outstanding lessons every day of the week. Okay,
so I think that's the end of the interview. Tom, I want to thank you for being such a great guest. Genuinely, you opened up and really shared, so thank you.
I really want to thank you for taking my podcast virginity. It's been an absolute pleasure.
You are welcome.
Tom, we're really glad you stuck with teaching. You didn't throw in the towel.
Good point, Jesse.
Thank you for that.
We are glad that you stuck with it.
Thank you.
If you found Tom interesting and witty, like we did, you could follow him on the gram. Tom, what's your handle?
It's Mr._Sewell, which is Sewell. And I've documented all of my lessons and events from last year in Shanghai, and I'll probably continue this year as well.
It's a good feed. I like it. I think there's nothing else to say apart from bye, Tom.
Thank you. Goodbye.
Bye-bye.
What a story.
That was brilliant. Genuinely, I really enjoyed that. I had no idea what he was going to say. I thought it was going to be a funny story when a kid said the word bottom or something like that. Yeah, I did not see that coming.
It was not a funny story.
He was not funny.
He was not that funny.
But I don't know about you, but I'm genuinely really impressed with how honest and open he was.
Yeah, it was actually, I really connected with that story.
It's not easy to speak like he basically admitted Well, he said it. The worst. I don't know what the phrase was. Worst time of his life. Like worst experience of his life. Like.
Yeah, I'm impressed that he decided to share that story with us. I personally wouldn't have chosen to share the worst day of my life. But yeah, I think a lot of teachers can connect with that vulnerability that you feel, or really anyone at the beginning of your career.
Definitely.
It's not easy to start fresh.
Definitely. I think he bared his soul, and hopefully, at least some people will think that was worthwhile listening to or instructive. So, very good. Even more surprising than the content, with what he said, was what he didn't say. There was no sexual innuendo at all.
It surprised me.
You know what? You know what? In a way, I'm quite proud of him. In another way, I'm furious. And what really annoys me was we hung out with him for about 45 minutes before we recorded. He threw in about 8 of them.
So many sexual
He would not stop.
I kept looking at you and being like, oh, it's another one.
But, I don't know. Clearly, once the recording starts, the red light goes on, he's a pro.
Yeah.
Doesn't do it.
He must be a really great professional teacher, too.
Also, how good is he at times tables?
He's pretty good.
That was instantaneous.
Yeah, he thought he would be good, and he was.
Anyway, all in all, great pod.
Thanks for listening.
If you'd like to hear some more, you can start following us on the social medias. Follow the podcast at My Outstanding Lesson on Instagram. And if you want to follow me personally and see what I'm up to in my classroom, on Instagram, I'm Mr_Butler_primary. I think it's time for some reviews.
We have our most positive review yet.
Ooh.
I would say. It says, Freddie and Jesse have fantastic energy on the air. They balance each other with that bit of magic found only in the best co-host team. Their guests are inspiring, knowledgeable, and fun. After listening to one episode, I am already planning my next lesson.
So I know.
Thank you, Charming Bee from Canada.
Energy.
Positive energy.
Positive energy.
On the air.
Sounds like a gas company. Positive energy. Oh, we got another. My mate sent a message in the WhatsApp group describing it as solid stuff.
Solid stuff.
It's solid. It's not flimsy.
Well, that's a positive review.
We'll take that. Keep them coming, please. We really, genuinely, actually, really appreciate the reviews. So if you can, please, I think it's a lot easier on Apple. So maybe if you listen on Spotify, if you can review on Apple, that'd be really useful. And please subscribe so you get a new episode every week.
We'll see you online.
See you there. Bye-bye.
Bye.